Lucy.
Everything you call reality is just a reflection of perception.
What happens when the universe looks back at itself?
Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Nonprofit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use.
The story of Lucy has captivated audiences since its release in 2014, offering a bold exploration of human potential and the possibilities that lie within the mind. Directed by Luc Besson, the original film followed the journey of Lucy, played by Scarlett Johansson, a young woman whose life takes a radical turn when she inadvertently ingests a powerful synthetic drug called CPH4. This drug unlocks the untapped potential of her brain, allowing her to access abilities far beyond the ordinary human capacity. As Lucy's cognitive and physical powers expand, she transcends the limitations of the human body and mind, becoming a being of immense intelligence, agility, and perception. Her journey is a compelling mix of action, science fiction, and philosophical reflection, questioning what it truly means to be human and how far evolution can take us. The movie's unique blend of high-octane action and intellectual curiosity captured the imagination of viewers worldwide, establishing a dedicated fan base eager to explore what might come next in Lucy's story. The film's narrative, though spectacular, also left many questions unanswered, especially regarding the ultimate fate of Lucy and the full implications of her transcendent abilities, creating fertile ground for speculation about a sequel. Over the years, rumors of a follow-up film, often referred to as Lucy 2, have circulated intermittently. While fans have long imagined the possibilities of a sequel, it is essential to understand that, as of now, no official announcement has confirmed the production of such a project. Reports have suggested that Luc Besson may have at some point written a script for a sequel, yet he himself has repeatedly denied active involvement, stating that he does not see a sequel as feasible or necessary. Despite this, the idea of Lucy continuing her journey has remained irresistible to the fan community, leading to the creation of numerous fan-made trailers and concept videos that depict what a sequel could look like. These fan interpretations often depict Lucy as having fully transcended physical form, existing as a cosmic or omnipresent consciousness, influencing the course of human evolution, technology, and even global events. This speculation taps into the philosophical undertones of the original film, imagining a world where Lucy's intelligence and awareness have no boundaries, potentially altering the destiny of the entire planet or even the universe. The conceptual plotlines for Lucy 2, as envisioned by fans and independent creators, are varied but often follow a central theme. Lucy's transformation has elevated her beyond mere human concerns, presenting challenges to the world as it struggles to understand or interact with her newfound state. Some narratives suggest that she communicates with a select group of humans who attempt to interpret or even exploit her omnipotence. The tension arises from humanity's inability to fully comprehend her abilities, creating conflicts that are as philosophical as they are dramatic. In these imagined storylines, Lucy's evolution is not merely physical or intellectual but also metaphysical, pushing the boundaries of consciousness and existence itself. The fan-conceived sequels often explore questions of morality, free will, and the ethical responsibilities that come with godlike power, reflecting the thematic richness that made the original film so compelling. These stories highlight the enduring fascination with the character and the intellectual curiosity surrounding the possibilities of advanced human cognition. In terms of casting, the only confirmed presence remains Scarlett Johansson, who portrayed Lucy in the original film and whose role in any sequel is assumed to be central. Some fan-made trailers have included other prominent actors, such as Morgan Freeman, speculating that he might reprise a mentor or guiding role, though none of this has been officially confirmed. These imagined castings often aim to recreate the dynamic of the original film, pairing Lucy's extraordinary abilities with characters who provide scientific or philosophical grounding, but it is crucial to remember that these are purely speculative. The excitement around casting is fueled by the popularity of the original performers and the audience's desire to see familiar faces return to explore the next phase of Lucy's journey. Regarding release dates, some fan-made content has suggested a potential premiere as early as 2026, but there is no substantiated information from any studio confirming such plans. The trailers circulating online, particularly those depicting a 2026 release, are primarily AI-generated or independently created by enthusiasts. These trailers use creative editing, conceptual visuals, and digitally generated sequences to imagine what Lucy 2 might look like, often presenting a cinematic experience that rivals professionally produced material in terms of style and excitement. Despite their impressive visuals, it is essential to treat these as speculative artistic interpretations rather than official studio releases. The viral nature of these videos demonstrates both the passion of the fan base and the cultural impact of Lucy as a character, highlighting the ways modern technology allows fans to expand upon beloved cinematic universes creatively. Controversy surrounds the notion of Lucy 2 largely because of the disparity between fan expectations and the creator's statements. Luc Besson has consistently expressed skepticism about the viability of a sequel, emphasizing that the story of Lucy, as told in the 2014 film, was complete and not necessarily suited to continuation. This has led to confusion in the media, with some outlets reporting on supposed development without verifying the information, resulting in widespread speculation and the proliferation of rumors. Despite these doubts, fan enthusiasm remains undiminished, fueled by the film's unique concept, the unresolved questions about Lucy's ultimate fate, and the allure of exploring a narrative that combines action, science fiction, and philosophical inquiry. The fascination with Lucy 2 is further enhanced by the philosophical implications of the character's evolution. The original film hinted at profound questions about the nature of consciousness, human potential, and the limits of intelligence, and a sequel, even in theory, allows for exploration of these ideas on a grander scale. Fans speculate about the possibilities of a universe shaped by an omnipresent intelligence, the ethical dilemmas that arise when one being possesses unparalleled knowledge and capability, and the impact of such a presence on society, morality, and the future of humanity. These themes, central to the original film's appeal, are what give the concept of Lucy 2 enduring intrigue and make it a fertile ground for creative exploration, even in the absence of official confirmation. In conclusion, while the reality of Lucy 2 remains uncertain, the discourse surrounding it reflects the enduring power of the original film. Scarlett Johansson's portrayal of Lucy left an indelible mark on audiences, and the combination of action, science fiction, and philosophical inquiry continues to inspire speculation about what might come next. The fan-created trailers, conceptual plots, and imaginative casting demonstrate the passion and creativity of the community, while the consistent denial from Luc Besson serves as a reminder that not all popular ideas translate into production reality. Lucy 2, whether it ever materializes, serves as a fascinating case study of modern fandom, the interaction between creators and audiences, and the ways in which narrative possibilities can expand beyond the boundaries of official canon. The discussion around it continues to evolve, reflecting both the allure of the character and the universal curiosity about the ultimate potential of the human mind. The story of Lucy, real or imagined, resonates because it asks profound questions about intelligence, consciousness, and evolution, inviting viewers and fans alike to consider the possibilities that lie within and beyond themselves. Lucy 2, a sequel that has long been rumored but never officially confirmed, exists primarily in the imaginations of fans and the viral content circulating on the internet. The original film, Lucy, released in 2014, was a bold sci-fi action story directed and written by Luc Besson, featuring Scarlett Johansson in the titular role and exploring the thrilling premise of unlocking the full potential of the human brain. It was a French-American production that combined spectacular visual effects with high-concept ideas about human evolution, intelligence, and the possibilities of mind expansion. From the moment Lucy ingests the experimental drug that allows her to access increasing percentages of her brain capacity, the film delves into both thrilling action sequences and deep philosophical reflections on the nature of existence. The sequel, Lucy 2, however, exists in a much more nebulous space. There has never been an official announcement from Luc Besson or his production company, EuropaCorp, confirming that the movie is in development or slated for release. What exists instead are scattered rumors, reports, and most significantly, fan-made trailers that have gone viral across platforms like YouTube. These trailers, sometimes using AI-generated visuals and editing, have presented a compelling vision of what a continuation of Lucy's story might look like, feeding the imagination of fans and creating the illusion of a real sequel. The viral videos have included concept casting choices such as the return of Scarlett Johansson as Lucy, the potential inclusion of Morgan Freeman reprising his role as Professor Samuel Norman, and in some fan renditions, even Robert Downey Jr. as a new character named Dr. Adrian Cross. However, none of these casting decisions are official, and all are purely speculative, crafted to enhance the visual storytelling of the fan-made trailers. In the narrative imagined by fans, Lucy 2 picks up after the events of the original film, exploring a universe in which Lucy has transcended her human limitations. She has become something more than just a human being, she is evolution itself, existing beyond the constraints of physical form. The trailers suggest that her consciousness has spread across digital networks and quantum information streams, making her presence detectable by global intelligence agencies who attempt to intercept and understand the nature of her existence. The plot of this imagined sequel revolves around the conflict between Lucy's godlike intelligence and the efforts of human institutions to contain, comprehend, or control her. In this context, Lucy is no longer just a protagonist in an action movie. She is a philosophical and existential entity, representing both the ultimate potential and the inherent danger of unbounded knowledge. Fans have speculated that the sequel would introduce a new generation of enhanced minds, humans or beings who have been augmented or evolved to possess heightened cognitive abilities, though none would reach the unparalleled level of Lucy herself. This plotline not only serves to amplify the stakes of the narrative but also to explore the ethical, moral, and existential implications of creating or encountering intelligence far beyond human comprehension. Themes such as the morality of infinite power, the risks of weaponizing evolution, and the philosophical questions surrounding consciousness and identity dominate the imagined storyline. The fan-made content often emphasizes that Lucy is no longer merely interacting with humanity, she is actively shaping the evolution of the species and the world, raising questions about autonomy, free will, and the relationship between creator and creation. The viral trailers further amplify the story by employing dramatic visual effects and high-energy sequences. Viewers are shown Lucy manipulating physical reality, interfacing with global digital systems, and transcending space and time in ways that suggest she has become omnipresent. These effects are not just for spectacle, they are narrative devices meant to underscore the central concept that Lucy has become an entity whose existence cannot be contained by conventional boundaries. The trailers also play with the idea of Lucy as both protector and potential threat, a being whose motivations are inscrutable to ordinary humans but whose influence can reshape the world in profound ways. Despite the creativity of the fan-made content, it is important to clarify that there is no official production schedule, confirmed cast, or plot for Lucy 2. While there have been scattered reports over the years suggesting that Luc Besson wrote a script for a sequel, and that EuropaCorp had considered developing it, Besson himself has publicly denied that he is currently working on a sequel. Statements from the studio and the director have emphasized that while the idea has been discussed, nothing is in active production, and any online material claiming otherwise is speculative or fan-created. The line between rumor, fan imagination, and official development has therefore become blurred, with viral trailers often misleading audiences into believing that a real movie is imminent. The cultural fascination with Lucy 2 stems from the original film's impact. Lucy's journey in 2014 captivated audiences worldwide with its combination of visual spectacle, action, and thought-provoking ideas. Fans have long desired to see a continuation of Lucy's story, particularly exploring what happens after she transcends the limitations of the human mind. This desire has fueled both the production of fan-made trailers and the spread of rumors, creating an ecosystem in which speculation and creative expression have filled the void left by the absence of an official sequel. The fan creations often attempt to address questions left unanswered by the original film, such as how Lucy's consciousness interacts with humanity, whether there are limits to her power, and how ordinary humans might respond to a being of her capability. As for the imagined casting, Scarlett Johansson's return as Lucy is central to the fan concept. Morgan Freeman's Professor Samuel Norman is occasionally depicted as a mentor or scientific interlocutor, continuing to explore the ethical and scientific dimensions of Lucy's abilities. Additional speculative characters, like Robert Downey Jr.'s Dr. Adrian Cross, are inserted by fans to introduce new narrative dynamics and expand the universe of the story. These characters often serve to highlight Lucy's evolution and to provide human perspectives on the extraordinary changes that have occurred. Even though these castings are entirely fictional in the context of an official production, they help to flesh out the fan-imagined narrative and make it more engaging and cinematic. The release date often cited in the fan-made content is 2026, yet this is entirely speculative. Since Lucy 2 has not been greenlit or announced by any studio, any such date is part of the creative fiction rather than a factual projection. The release date functions as a narrative tool within the fan community to generate excitement and anticipation, but it does not reflect any confirmed production timeline. The viral trailer's high production values, combined with AI-generated effects and professional editing, have contributed to a perception that Lucy 2 is a real upcoming film, further blurring the lines between fan speculation and reality. The fan-made Lucy 2 also explores thematic elements that were hinted at but not fully developed in the original film. Issues of transhumanism, the ethics of human enhancement, and the philosophical implications of omniscience and omnipresence are central to the imagined sequel. In these concept trailers, Lucy is portrayed not only as a powerful protagonist but as a narrative device to probe questions about what it means to be human in a world where intelligence and power can exceed natural limits. These themes resonate with audiences who are fascinated by speculative science, philosophy, and the ethical dilemmas inherent in the pursuit of ultimate knowledge. Overall, Lucy 2 exists as a testament to fan creativity, imagination, and the enduring fascination with the original film. While it is not an officially produced sequel, the viral content has created a rich, speculative universe in which Lucy continues her journey of evolution and transcendence. Fans have taken the foundation laid by Luc Besson and Scarlett Johansson and expanded it into a vision of the future that is thrilling, speculative, and deeply philosophical. The story, as imagined, raises profound questions about power, intelligence, morality, and the potential trajectory of human evolution, all centered around the enigmatic and transcendent figure of Lucy. Lucy is a science fiction action film that occupies a curious space between spectacle and philosophy, a thriller with enough energy to keep audiences on edge, but also with bigger ideas beneath the surface. Directed and written by Luc Besson, Lucy was released in 2014 and quickly became a topic of conversation not just for its action sequences and Scarlett Johansson's performance, but for its premise. What if a person could access far more of their brain than is normally possible? At its core, Lucy is about transformation. A young woman, seemingly ordinary, is thrust into a violent underworld, and through a bizarre accident gains the capacity to unravel the fundamental structure of reality. It is a film about power and about what it might mean to be human when one's mental capacities are no longer bounded by normal limitations. The film opens in Taipei, Taiwan, where Lucy Miller, Scarlett Johansson, is introduced as a student living a relatively carefree life. Her American background contrasts with the seedy environment she is about to be drawn into, a criminal operation run by a gang led by Mr. Jang, Choi Min-sik. Lucy's boyfriend, Richard, Piluas Bake, convinces her to deliver a briefcase, but it turns out to be a trap. Richard is soon killed, and Lucy is abducted and forced to become a drug mule. The traffickers implant a bag of a synthetic drug called CPH4 into her abdomen along with other couriers. The plot takes a dramatic turn when the package bursts inside her, releasing the drug into her bloodstream. Rather than killing her, the chemical begins to alter her brain function. As the drug circulates, Lucy's brain capacity starts to increase rapidly, granting her a series of abilities. She gains telepathy, telekinesis, enhanced memory, perception of electromagnetic signals, and even the ability to manipulate matter and traverse time or space. Realizing she is caught up in something far beyond her control, Lucy fights back against her captors. Her escape is violent and physical. She evolves quickly, learning, adapting, shedding pain, and ignoring physical damage. She calls for help from Professor Samuel Norman, played by Morgan Freeman, a neuroscientist whose research centers around brain capacity. Norman helps her understand what is happening, and she in turn becomes something more than just a subject, she becomes a transformative being. Parallel to her internal evolution is a concrete conflict. Gangsters, police, and other forces are tied to the trafficking operation, and Lucy must navigate this dangerous world even as the boundaries of her existence expand. She seeks to ingest more of the CPH4 to accelerate her transformation, but the drug is unstable, and her body begins to change in unnatural ways. The movie includes interludes of cells dividing, cosmic sequences, and references to history, emphasizing her expanding consciousness. These sequences underscore the film's concerns about the nature of existence, the mind, and reality. Eventually, Lucy's transformation culminates. She approaches 100% brain capacity, at which point her body becomes intangible. She transcends physical form, becoming a living conduit of information, merging with technology, and dissolving into the structure of the universe. She leaves behind a data drive containing her knowledge, which she gives to Professor Norman. In her final moments, she says, "I am everywhere," suggesting that her presence has gone beyond space and time. Lucy earned a mixed but generally positive response. Some praised it for imagination and Johansson's performance, while others criticized its scientific premises and narrative execution. Some argued that while Johansson's performance is strong, the conceptual ambition is not always matched by character depth. Lucy uses the idea that humans use only 10% of their brains as a metaphor. Besson admitted that the premise was a myth but used it to explore what would happen if someone could access all of their mental potential. His goal was not to make a scientifically accurate film, but to craft a speculative story that asks questions about intelligence, identity, and existence. Critics noted a tension between its philosophical ambitions and its action thriller format. While the movie keeps audiences engaged with action, it does not fully explore the emotional or ethical ramifications of Lucy's transformation. There are moments that feel human, such as a phone call to her mother, but these are relatively few. Scientifically, the film draws criticism. Neuroscientists argue that the notion of humans using only 10% of their brains is a myth. Besson intentionally distorted science to tell a metaphorical story, not a documentary. Lucy was made on a modest budget yet achieved remarkable box office success. Its global reach was helped by its international settings from Taipei to Paris and by fast pacing and visual design. The idea of a sequel, Lucy 2, has been largely speculative. Reports have circulated that EuropaCorp was developing a follow-up and that Besson had written a script. However, Besson has publicly denied these rumors and said he is not preparing Lucy 2. He criticized media outlets for spreading false news and emphasized that Lucy was a standalone story. He expressed doubt about the possibility of a sequel unless there is a compelling idea. Some critics reacted to the ending in different ways. Some see Lucy's final transformation as a symbol of transcendence, while others feel the movie becomes too abstract or loses emotional anchor. Lucy becomes more of a concept than a person. Part of the appeal beyond action is its exploration of consciousness and human potential. Even though the scientific premise is fictional, it resonates with speculative fiction traditions about transcending human limits. The action sometimes feels like a veneer over philosophical ideas, and some argue that Lucy's invincibility weakens dramatic tension. Others note that cosmic sequences can feel emotionally distant. Many viewers enjoy Lucy for its ambition. It is not a grounded drama, it is a speculative fantasy presented as a thriller. It asks us to imagine possibilities about mind expansion and consciousness. The film's legacy includes its box office success and its place in popular culture as a story about human potential. Even without scientific accuracy, it inspires debate, speculation, and curiosity about the limits of the mind. There have been rumors of Lucy 2, fueled by fan-made trailers and speculative reports. Some claimed EuropaCorp confirmed a sequel and that Besson wrote a script. Besson has consistently denied working on a sequel, calling reports fake news. He does not see how a follow-up would work unless there is a compelling idea. The first film ends with Lucy transcending the physical world, making a sequel difficult to continue in a conventional way. Some reports have mentioned a spin-off series rather than a film, which could explore her legacy and its effects on the world. Lucy remains a standalone phenomenon, a film that is both action and speculative meditation, an exploration of consciousness, and a visual journey. It does not satisfy hard science fiction requirements, but it taps into human curiosity about what lies beyond mental limits. Lucy is a cautionary tale, a story about transcendence, and an action movie, combining all elements into a continuous narrative. The film invites questions about what is possible if humans fully unlock their minds. Even without Lucy 2, the first film continues to resonate because it provokes thought about the potential of the human mind and the meaning of being human. In the imagined universe of Lucy 2, the story begins to explore the consequences of Lucy's transcendence in greater depth. By the time of the sequel, Lucy is no longer confined to the limitations of her physical body. Her consciousness has expanded into a form that can interact with both digital and biological systems simultaneously. In the fan-made narratives, this evolution allows her to manipulate information on a global scale, influence electronic networks, and even affect human cognition indirectly. This portrayal emphasizes the idea that Lucy is now a hybrid of mind and network, a being whose existence blurs the line between technology and biology. Such a premise provides fertile ground for exploring not only action sequences but also the ethical and existential dilemmas inherent in the emergence of a superintelligence. The sequel's fan-imagined plot also introduces conflict on a scale far beyond that of the first film. Whereas the original Lucy dealt with localized threats, including criminal organizations and experimental drug developers, Lucy 2 envisions adversaries of global significance. In the viral trailers, shadowy intelligence agencies, international corporations, and secretive research organizations attempt to contain or exploit Lucy's powers. These groups are depicted as technologically sophisticated but ultimately limited by human cognition, emphasizing the contrast between human ingenuity and Lucy's omniscient capabilities. The tension arises not only from action-oriented confrontations but also from the moral implications of controlling or restraining a being that exists beyond traditional limitations. Action sequences in the fan-made trailers are designed to showcase Lucy's evolution while maintaining narrative tension. For instance, one sequence imagines her appearing simultaneously in multiple locations, interacting with various elements of a cityscape in ways that defy physical laws. She is portrayed as capable of moving at speeds that allow her to manipulate events before human perception can register them, creating a sense of inevitability around her actions. These sequences are often paired with highly stylized visual effects, including digital overlays, quantum-inspired imagery, and abstract representations of thought processes. The purpose of these visuals is to convey that Lucy operates on an entirely different level of reality, and that her perception of time, space, and causality is fundamentally different from that of ordinary humans. Alongside action, the fan-made narrative emphasizes Lucy's internal development. Unlike typical sequels that focus solely on external conflict, Lucy 2 delves into the psychological and philosophical transformation of its protagonist. Fans speculate that Lucy begins to grapple with the implications of her omnipotence. Questions such as whether she should intervene in human affairs, how she should interact with the remaining human population, and whether her existence could unintentionally cause harm dominate her internal dialogue. In this sense, Lucy becomes a vehicle for exploring themes of responsibility, empathy, and the balance between power and morality. The juxtaposition of her godlike abilities with the ethical dilemmas she faces creates a rich tapestry for storytelling that extends beyond mere spectacle. The introduction of new characters in the fan-made sequel also serves to expand the narrative complexity. For example, Morgan Freeman's Professor Samuel Norman, if included, is envisioned as a guiding figure who continues to explore the theoretical and moral implications of Lucy's abilities. He represents human curiosity, wisdom, and caution, acting as a counterbalance to Lucy's increasingly detached perspective. Similarly, speculative characters such as Robert Downey Jr.'s Dr. Adrian Cross are imagined as scientists or technologists with personal agendas, whose interactions with Lucy reveal both human ambition and vulnerability. These dynamics allow for multi-layered storytelling, in which characters serve as lenses through which the audience can examine the consequences of Lucy's evolution from different perspectives. The fan-generated world-building in Lucy 2 extends to the global stage. Unlike the first movie, which primarily focused on localized environments, the sequel concept envisions a world transformed by the knowledge and power Lucy possesses. Infrastructure, communications, and even societal norms are subtly influenced by her presence. Some trailers depict changes in urban landscapes, cryptic messages appearing in digital systems, and subtle shifts in human behavior, all suggesting that Lucy's influence permeates society in ways that humans can only partially perceive. This approach reinforces the sense of scale and stakes in the story, situating Lucy not merely as a protagonist within a conventional narrative but as a transformative force capable of reshaping the world. Philosophical themes are central to the imagined sequel. The fan-made content often dwells on concepts such as the nature of consciousness, the ethical boundaries of human enhancement, and the potential consequences of transcending biological limits. Lucy is portrayed as both a lens and a subject for these explorations. Her evolution prompts the audience to consider questions about free will, determinism, and the responsibilities of beings with superior knowledge and abilities. By framing Lucy's journey in this way, the narrative encourages reflection on the broader implications of science, technology, and human aspiration, while simultaneously delivering the excitement of high-stakes action. Music and sound design in the fan trailers play a significant role in conveying atmosphere and emotion. Epic orchestral scores, electronic soundscapes, and dynamic audio effects are used to represent Lucy's cognitive processes and the scale of her influence. These elements are designed to immerse viewers in the experience of interacting with a consciousness that operates on a higher plane of existence, heightening both tension and awe. While not official, the attention to auditory detail demonstrates how fan creators seek to emulate the cinematic experience of a real blockbuster, further blurring the line between fan speculation and professional production. The fan-made Lucy 2 also engages with themes of human evolution and post-humanity. By imagining a world where Lucy's abilities influence the course of evolution, the concept explores the potential trajectories of human development in the presence of intelligence far exceeding our own. Enhanced minds, genetic manipulation, and technological augmentation are speculated to emerge as both opportunities and threats, prompting audiences to consider the consequences of human ambition and the unforeseen ramifications of progress. These narrative threads reinforce the idea that Lucy's story is not only about action or spectacle but about the philosophical and existential questions that arise when humanity encounters forces beyond its comprehension. Despite the elaborate world-building and detailed narrative speculation, it remains critical to reiterate that Lucy 2 is not an officially produced film. No studio has confirmed casting, production schedules, or plot points. All fan-generated content, viral trailers, and speculative casting decisions exist within the realm of creative expression and imagination. Nevertheless, the sophistication and ambition of these fan-made creations reflect the enduring popularity of the original Lucy film and the audience's desire to explore the possibilities of Lucy's story in greater depth. The story of Lucy, first introduced in 2014, captured audiences with its thrilling blend of action and high-concept science fiction. Directed by Luc Besson, the film followed the life of a young woman named Lucy, played by Scarlett Johansson, whose ordinary existence is turned upside down after she accidentally ingests a powerful synthetic drug known as CPH4. This substance dramatically increases her brain capacity, unlocking extraordinary physical and mental abilities. As Lucy's abilities grow, she gains superhuman speed, agility, perception, and intelligence, ultimately transcending the limits of the human body and mind. The narrative explored not only the consequences of enhanced cognition but also philosophical questions about human evolution, the nature of consciousness, and the potential for human beings to exceed their biological limitations. This combination of spectacle, thought-provoking ideas, and philosophical undertones made Lucy a standout film and left fans eager for more. Over the years, speculation about a sequel, often referred to as Lucy 2, has captured the imagination of fans and media alike. Although Luc Besson and his production studio, Europa Corp., have consistently denied the development of an official follow-up, reports emerged that a script had been written at one point. These rumors fueled the creation of fan-made trailers and concept videos, which imagined what might happen if Lucy continued to evolve beyond her physical form. In many of these conceptual scenarios, Lucy is portrayed as a transcendent, omnipresent consciousness capable of influencing events on a global or even cosmic scale. These speculative narratives explore how humanity might respond to an entity of such immense intelligence and power, raising questions about ethics, control, and the potential consequences of a being operating beyond human comprehension. The imagined plotlines for Lucy 2, as suggested by fan-created material, often place Lucy at the center of a universe-altering story. In these scenarios, her transformation is no longer merely personal, it has implications for the world at large. Some interpretations suggest that Lucy communicates with select humans who attempt to understand her motives or harness her abilities, creating tension and conflict as her omnipotent perspective clashes with human limitations. These conceptual plots frequently incorporate elements of philosophy, science, and speculative technology, imagining the consequences of a superintelligent entity navigating human society and the ethical dilemmas that arise from such extraordinary abilities. The scope of these narratives allows for high-stakes drama, intense action sequences, and profound explorations of consciousness and morality. Regarding casting, Scarlett Johansson remains the central figure in any discussion of Lucy 2, as she portrayed the character in the original film. Fan-made trailers and conceptual videos occasionally include other notable actors, such as Morgan Freeman, envisioning roles that provide guidance, scientific insight, or narrative counterbalance to Lucy's godlike powers. While these additions are purely speculative and not officially confirmed, they reflect the desire to recreate the intellectual and emotional dynamics that contributed to the success of the first film. The inclusion of familiar faces alongside Lucy allows fans to imagine a continuity that maintains both the dramatic tension and philosophical inquiry that defined the original narrative. The release and promotional details for Lucy 2 are largely based on fan speculation rather than confirmed information. Some fan-generated content suggests a potential premiere in 2026, but no studio has officially announced production or distribution plans. Similarly, trailers circulating online are predominantly AI-generated or independently created by enthusiasts rather than official studio releases. These fan-made trailers often feature dramatic visuals, conceptual storytelling, and imaginative representations of Lucy's transcendent abilities, providing a sense of what the film could look like if it were ever produced. Despite the impressive visual and narrative quality of these trailers, it is crucial to recognize that they are not sanctioned by any production company and serve primarily as creative speculation inspired by the original story. The controversy surrounding Lucy 2 primarily arises from the discrepancy between fan expectations and statements from the film's creator. Luc Besson has repeatedly emphasized that he does not intend to produce a sequel, asserting that the story of Lucy is complete and does not necessarily lend itself to continuation. This has led to confusion in the media, with some outlets reporting on supposed development without adequate verification, creating a proliferation of rumors. Despite the lack of official confirmation, the enthusiasm of fans remains strong, demonstrating the lasting appeal of the original film and the desire to explore unresolved questions about Lucy's ultimate fate and the implications of her abilities. The discussion around a potential sequel highlights the intersection of fan culture, media speculation, and the creative possibilities inherent in high-concept science fiction. The enduring interest in Lucy 2 is also fueled by the philosophical and intellectual themes introduced in the first film. Lucy's journey touches on questions about the nature of intelligence, the limits of human potential, and the consequences of transcending biological constraints. Speculative narratives about a sequel often expand these ideas, imagining the impact of a being with near-infinite knowledge and capability on human society, technology, and morality. These imagined explorations reflect both the fascination with Lucy as a character and the broader curiosity about the future of human evolution, offering rich material for fan speculation, academic discussion, and creative storytelling. The concept of Lucy 2, even in the absence of official production, provides a compelling lens through which to examine the possibilities of human and post-human advancement. In conclusion, while Lucy 2 remains speculative and unofficial, the ongoing discussion around it demonstrates the cultural impact of the original film. Scarlett Johansson's portrayal of Lucy left a lasting impression, and the film's unique combination of action, science fiction, and philosophical inquiry continues to inspire both fans and creators. Fan-made trailers, concept videos, and narrative speculation illustrate the creativity and dedication of the audience, while Luc Besson's statements clarify the absence of official development. The fascination with Lucy 2 highlights the enduring appeal of high-concept storytelling, the intersection of science and philosophy in popular media, and the power of imagination to extend narratives beyond their original scope. Whether or not an official sequel ever emerges, the conversation surrounding Lucy 2 continues to captivate audiences, offering a space for reflection, speculation, and appreciation of a character who represents the limitless potential of the human mind. Lucy is a film that has captured the attention of audiences around the world because of its unusual combination of action, science fiction, and philosophical inquiry. Directed and written by Luc Besson, it was released in 2014 and quickly became notable for both its entertainment value and the ambitious questions it raises about the limits of the human mind. The premise of the film revolves around the fictional idea that humans only use a small fraction of their brain capacity. While this concept is scientifically inaccurate, it serves as the foundation for a story about potential, transformation, and the evolution of consciousness. The story begins in Taipei, Taiwan, where Lucy Miller is introduced as an ordinary young woman studying and living a seemingly unremarkable life. Her existence is disrupted when she becomes involved with a criminal operation through her boyfriend, Richard. He convinces her to deliver a briefcase, but this turns out to be a setup that leads to his death and Lucy's abduction. She is forced to carry a drug called CPH4, implanted surgically in her abdomen alongside other couriers. This synthetic substance is portrayed as highly potent and dangerous, with effects that are far beyond the realm of ordinary human experience. The narrative accelerates when the drug leaks into Lucy's system after an altercation, triggering rapid and dramatic changes in her cognitive and physical abilities. The film portrays her brain capacity increasing at an unprecedented rate. As her mental abilities grow, Lucy begins to acquire skills that defy normal human limits. She can process information instantly, manipulate her environment through telekinesis, perceive signals and patterns invisible to ordinary humans, and ultimately alter matter and time. Her transformation serves as both a plot device and a metaphor for human potential. Lucy's journey is as much about internal evolution as it is about external conflict. She escapes from her captors, adapting to new threats with heightened awareness and enhanced physical capabilities. At the same time, she seeks guidance from Professor Samuel Norman, a neuroscientist specializing in the study of the brain and its capacities. He provides her with insight into what is happening to her and assists her in understanding the implications of her rapidly expanding abilities. The relationship between Lucy and Professor Norman anchors the story, providing a contrast between her extraordinary abilities and the normal human perspective. Throughout the film, Lucy's powers continue to develop. She is no longer constrained by physical pain or typical human limitations. She can access memories and knowledge instantaneously, perform complex calculations in seconds, and manipulate her surroundings at will. Her perception of time and space shifts, allowing her to interact with reality in ways that ordinary humans cannot comprehend. These abilities create a sense of awe but also emphasize the isolation that accompanies her transformation, as she increasingly moves beyond human experience. The visual elements of the film underscore Lucy's changing state. Cinematography includes sequences depicting microscopic cellular activity, cosmic imagery, and historical references. These visual motifs illustrate her expanding consciousness and her connection to the broader universe. They also highlight the tension between human experience and the limitless potential that Lucy embodies. The combination of action sequences with these visual metaphors helps the film convey complex ideas about knowledge, power, and evolution without relying solely on dialogue. Lucy's transformation reaches its peak when she attains what the film calls 100% brain capacity. At this point, her physical form becomes intangible, and she merges with technology and information systems. She effectively transcends the physical universe, existing as a presence that is everywhere at once. Before disappearing completely from the physical plane, she leaves a data drive containing all the knowledge she has acquired for Professor Norman. This act preserves the information she has accumulated and suggests that while she has moved beyond the human realm, she is still concerned with its development and the sharing of knowledge. The reception of Lucy was varied among critics and audiences. While some praised its inventive concept, fast-paced action, and visual style, others criticized the film for its scientific inaccuracies and for prioritizing spectacle over character development. Viewers were drawn to Scarlett Johansson's performance, which conveys both vulnerability and the growing power of her character. At the same time, the narrative's reliance on a fictional premise about brain function drew skepticism from scientists and critics alike. The film's underlying message centers on potential, evolution, and the nature of consciousness. It uses the idea of untapped brain capacity as a metaphor rather than a literal scientific claim. Luc Besson, the director, has stated that he did not intend to present a realistic depiction of neuroscience. Instead, he crafted a narrative exploring what might be possible if humans could unlock abilities far beyond current understanding. This narrative device allows the film to examine philosophical questions about identity, the limits of knowledge, and the relationship between the individual and the universe. Lucy's experiences raise questions about morality and human connection. As she gains power, she must navigate ethical considerations, such as how to use her abilities responsibly. Her interactions with other characters, including Professor Norman and various individuals she encounters during her journey, highlight the contrast between human concerns and the perspective of someone who is rapidly moving beyond ordinary cognition. These dynamics contribute to the film's philosophical undertones, emphasizing the tension between knowledge and experience, power and responsibility. The film also explores the concept of time. Lucy's expanded perception allows her to experience time differently, seeing events in a nonlinear manner. This shift in temporal perception reinforces the idea that intelligence and consciousness are not only about acquiring knowledge but also about understanding the structure of reality in a fundamentally different way. The visual representation of these concepts through sequences involving cosmic and cellular imagery reinforces the connection between Lucy's internal transformation and the broader universe. From a narrative standpoint, Lucy balances action and speculative exploration. The physical conflicts and escape sequences maintain tension and provide entertainment, while the metaphysical and intellectual aspects challenge viewers to consider the implications of limitless cognitive potential. This dual approach allows the film to engage a wide audience, appealing to those interested in action and spectacle as well as those drawn to philosophical inquiry. In addition to its narrative and thematic content, Lucy achieved commercial success. Produced with a moderate budget, it earned significant revenue globally. Its international settings, including Taipei, Paris, and other locations, contributed to its appeal and provided a dynamic backdrop for the story. The combination of high-energy action, imaginative visual design, and philosophical inquiry helped establish Lucy as a memorable entry in the science fiction and action genres. The film's legacy includes ongoing discussions about human potential, consciousness, and the relationship between science fiction and philosophical speculation. Lucy inspired both casual viewers and scholars to consider questions about intelligence, evolution, and the limits of human experience. Despite criticisms about scientific accuracy, it remains a reference point in popular culture for exploring speculative ideas about the brain and cognitive enhancement. Rumors about a sequel, commonly referred to as Lucy 2, have circulated since the original film's release. Various reports suggested that a follow-up might be developed, including claims that Luc Besson had written a script and that the production company, EuropaCorp, was planning a continuation. However, Besson has publicly denied these rumors, stating that there is no ongoing project for Lucy 2. He emphasized that Lucy was intended as a standalone story and that reports of a sequel were false. The challenges of creating a sequel are partly related to the conclusion of the first film. Lucy's final transformation removes her from the physical world, creating difficulties in crafting a narrative that continues her story in a conventional way. A sequel would need to address questions of continuity and plausibility while preserving the thematic integrity of the original. Besson has expressed doubt about the feasibility of such a project unless a compelling concept is developed. Despite the lack of an official sequel, speculation persists due to the popularity of the original film and the unanswered questions it leaves. Fan-made trailers and concept projects have appeared online, further fueling interest in the idea of a continuation. These works often explore potential consequences of Lucy's transformation and the ways her knowledge might influence the world, though they remain unofficial and not endorsed by the filmmakers. The first film also raises questions about human experience and consciousness. Lucy's abilities highlight the contrast between ordinary perception and the possibilities of expanded cognition. Through her journey, viewers are invited to consider what constitutes intelligence, what is the value of knowledge, and how consciousness relates to the physical and social world. These considerations provide depth beyond the surface-level action and spectacle, making the film a topic of analysis and discussion. The narrative structure of Lucy emphasizes progression and escalation. As the story unfolds, Lucy gains abilities in a linear fashion that mirrors her increasing understanding of the world and herself. This structure allows the audience to experience the progression alongside her, creating a sense of immersion and engagement. Her encounters with other characters serve to highlight her evolving perspective and the challenges of bridging her new understanding with conventional human experience. Visual storytelling is central to Lucy's impact. Cinematic techniques such as rapid editing, split screens, and symbolic imagery reinforce the narrative and thematic content. By depicting abstract concepts visually, the film communicates ideas that might be difficult to convey through dialogue alone. The visual elements contribute to the portrayal of Lucy's expanding consciousness and her changing relationship to the world around her. Lucy's interactions with supporting characters provide insight into her evolving moral and ethical framework. Professor Norman serves as a guide and a human anchor, offering perspective on her experiences and helping her interpret the implications of her abilities. Other characters, such as law enforcement and criminals, provide narrative tension and practical challenges that test Lucy's application of her powers. These interactions highlight the balance between intellectual expansion and social responsibility. The conclusion of Lucy emphasizes the potential and limitations of human knowledge. By leaving a repository of information for Professor Norman, Lucy ensures that her understanding has continued relevance for humanity. Her disappearance signifies a form of transcendence, suggesting that ultimate knowledge may exist beyond the physical plane while leaving an impact on the human world. This resolution combines philosophical reflection with narrative closure. Lucy's cultural influence extends beyond its initial release. The film has inspired discussion about cognitive potential, evolution, and the interplay between science fiction and philosophical speculation. Its premise, while fictional, taps into long-standing human curiosity about what might be possible if the mind could be expanded beyond conventional limits. This enduring interest has kept the film relevant in popular culture and academic discussions. Rumors of Lucy 2 illustrate the ongoing fascination with the character and the story. While no official continuation exists, interest in the concept highlights the impact of the original film. Fan projects and online speculation reflect the desire to explore the narrative further, though they remain separate from the canon established by Besson and EuropaCorp. The film's balance between action and intellectual exploration provides a model for combining entertainment with speculative thought. It demonstrates how popular media can address philosophical questions and explore hypothetical scenarios while still engaging audiences with dynamic storytelling. This combination has contributed to the film's lasting appeal and influence. Lucy encourages viewers to consider questions about identity, consciousness, and human potential. By presenting a character who transcends ordinary cognitive limits, it invites reflection on what it means to be human and how understanding and knowledge shape our experience of the world. These themes provide depth and complexity beyond the film's action-driven surface. The commercial and critical success of Lucy underscores the appeal of narratives that blend speculative ideas with compelling storytelling. While scientific accuracy is not its focus, the film's imaginative approach has stimulated discussion and debate. Its impact on popular culture and its ongoing relevance attest to the effectiveness of combining conceptual ambition with accessible narrative techniques. Even without an official sequel, Lucy continues to serve as a reference point for thinking about human potential and the relationship between cognition, perception, and reality. Its influence extends to discussions of philosophy, science fiction, and speculative storytelling, demonstrating the power of narrative to engage with abstract ideas in ways that are accessible and meaningful. As Lucy's journey in the imagined sequel unfolds, the narrative begins to explore her interactions with the world in a more intimate and philosophical way. While the viral trailers focus on large-scale action and visual spectacle, fan-created scripts and theories often suggest quieter, more introspective moments that examine Lucy's transformation. In these imagined sequences, Lucy confronts questions about identity, purpose, and connection. Despite her omniscience, there is an underlying tension between her detachment from humanity and the lingering vestiges of her human consciousness. Fans speculate that she wrestles with the paradox of being both intimately aware of human emotions and experiences while simultaneously operating on a cognitive level that transcends them. One of the key narrative arcs involves Lucy attempting to communicate with ordinary humans. Since her intelligence now far exceeds human comprehension, traditional communication proves inadequate. Some fan theories suggest that she experiments with transmitting thoughts, emotions, and abstract concepts directly into human minds, essentially creating a form of psychic interaction. These sequences are often described as visually stunning, with shifting colors, fractal-like patterns, and abstract digital representations of thought processes, symbolizing the bridging of consciousness between Lucy and the rest of humanity. These moments, while speculative, underscore the thematic focus of Lucy 2 on the intersection of intelligence, perception, and empathy. The fan-made narrative also explores conflicts arising from human attempts to control or understand Lucy. Intelligence agencies, powerful corporations, and rogue scientists are depicted as trying to harness her abilities for their own purposes. Some sequences imagine high-tech containment efforts, cybernetic surveillance, and digital traps designed to limit her influence, all of which fail against her omnipresent capabilities. These interactions often serve as allegories for humanity's desire to dominate or manipulate forces beyond their control, highlighting the ethical and philosophical tension that underpins the sequel storyline. Lucy's responses to these attempts, ranging from subtle manipulation to overt demonstrations of power, further reinforce her position as a transformative and morally complex figure. In the fan-conceived sequel, Lucy also encounters other enhanced beings or post-human entities. While none match her level of cognition, these characters provide narrative tension, serving as both allies and foils. The interaction between Lucy and these beings allows the audience to explore different dimensions of intelligence and consciousness. Some sequences imagine cooperative problem-solving, where Lucy coordinates with these minds to achieve global objectives, while other moments depict conflict, jealousy, or competition, emphasizing the social and moral dimensions of superior intelligence. Through these interactions, fans speculate on themes of hierarchy, collaboration, and the evolving definition of humanity. Dialogue in fan scripts is often philosophical, reflecting the elevated cognitive state of Lucy and the thematic ambitions of the sequel. Lines attributed to her in speculative content frequently explore concepts such as the limitations of perception, the impermanence of human knowledge, and the ethical responsibility that comes with power. For example, in one imagined scene, Lucy explains to a human character, "Your world is but a fragment of understanding, mine encompasses the entirety of potential. Yet, even in this vastness, I seek a balance." Such lines are emblematic of the attempt to maintain continuity with the original film's intellectual themes while expanding the scope to a cosmic scale. Fan theories also delve into potential consequences of Lucy's evolution on a global scale. Some propose that her existence triggers changes in human society, from subtle shifts in cultural norms to technological breakthroughs accelerated by her influence. Others suggest that her powers could inadvertently destabilize economic, political, and social systems, creating tension between human autonomy and the inevitable influence of a transcendent intelligence. These speculative elements allow the narrative to explore themes of chaos and order, the unintended consequences of progress, and the moral responsibilities of beings who wield immense power. The imagined visual design of Lucy 2 in fan content continues to emphasize her transcendence. Instead of being confined to a human form, Lucy is often depicted as a luminous, abstract entity, with shifting forms that reflect her cognitive and emotional states. These designs symbolize her evolution beyond corporeal limitations while maintaining connections to the original character through recognizable features, such as Scarlett Johansson's likeness. Environmental designs in fan trailers and scripts similarly reflect her influence, with cities, landscapes, and even digital networks transforming in response to her presence, reinforcing the idea that Lucy is a central force shaping reality itself. Musically and atmospherically, fan-made content often employs soundscapes designed to evoke both awe and introspection. Orchestral arrangements blend with electronic and synthesized sounds to reflect the fusion of human and post-human intelligence. These choices underscore the thematic duality of the narrative, the blending of familiar human emotion with the alien perception of an omniscient being. The auditory experience complements the visual storytelling, creating an immersive environment that accentuates the grandeur, mystery, and philosophical weight of Lucy's journey. Additionally, fan-made scripts frequently explore hypothetical societal reactions to Lucy's presence. Some sequences depict governments and international organizations grappling with the impossibility of controlling or predicting her actions. Others explore individual human experiences, portraying ordinary people who sense subtle changes in their environment or cognitive patterns, hinting at Lucy's indirect influence on daily life. These moments provide a human perspective on a narrative otherwise dominated by extraordinary phenomena, grounding the story in relatable emotional experiences and enhancing audience engagement. Finally, in these speculative narratives, Lucy too concludes with philosophical ambiguity rather than definitive resolution. Fans imagine endings in which Lucy, having reached the pinnacle of cognitive and existential evolution, chooses either to observe humanity silently, intervene selectively, or merge entirely with the informational and biological fabric of the planet. The ambiguity allows for ongoing debate, reflection, and fan discussion, keeping the character's legacy alive while emphasizing the unresolved moral and existential questions that define her story. This approach aligns with the original film's intellectual ambition while expanding its scope, offering a narrative that is both thrilling and contemplative. In the fan-conceived sequel Lucy 2, the narrative escalates as the global scale of Lucy's influence becomes more apparent. Unlike the original film, which largely focused on localized action sequences within cities and laboratories, the imagined sequel envisions events spanning continents, digital networks, and even outer space. One recurring theme in fan narratives is Lucy's ability to exist simultaneously across multiple dimensions of reality, physically, digitally, and cognitively. For example, in one imagined sequence, Lucy intercepts a coordinated cyber attack targeting world communication satellites. Through her omnipresent awareness, she manipulates the flow of information, rerouting the attack in real time, neutralizing threats, and simultaneously transmitting knowledge to scientists in isolated locations to prevent secondary crises. This sequence, while speculative, emphasizes the magnitude of her power and the narrative ambition of the sequel. The imagined action scenes are designed to illustrate both Lucy's intellectual supremacy and her moral restraint. She does not act merely out of self-interest, rather, each intervention is calculated to maintain balance, avoid unnecessary harm, and guide humanity toward evolutionary potential. Fan scripts often depict her using a combination of telekinetic abilities, control over digital systems, and advanced predictive cognition to avert disasters. One particularly popular fan sequence shows Lucy simultaneously disarming a biochemical threat in a laboratory, redirecting a hijacked drone swarm in a cityscape, and communicating encrypted messages to international leaders, all within seconds. These highly complex sequences are crafted to evoke awe, reflecting the central conceit that Lucy has transcended ordinary physical and cognitive limitations. Fan narratives also delve into temporal manipulation as a key aspect of Lucy's abilities. In some imagined storylines, Lucy perceives time non-linearly, allowing her to anticipate and respond to events before they occur. This non-linear perception creates narrative tension, as human adversaries struggle to comprehend her strategies. For example, in one scenario, an international task force attempts a coordinated strike to neutralize her influence. Lucy, perceiving multiple potential outcomes simultaneously, adapts instantly, neutralizing threats while minimizing collateral damage. Such sequences highlight the contrast between human limitation and Lucy's transcendent cognition, reinforcing the philosophical dimension of the story, that advanced intelligence is not simply about raw power, but also about understanding and ethical application. Character interactions in Lucy 2 are equally rich and complex. In fan scripts, Lucy engages with Professor Samuel Norman as a mentor and moral guide. Norman's role is to provide context, ethical reflection, and a human perspective on the extraordinary events unfolding. Their conversations often revolve around fundamental questions of existence, consciousness, and responsibility. One imagined dialogue features Norman warning Lucy, "Knowledge without empathy is a danger to the world you seek to protect," prompting her to consider the ethical ramifications of her actions. These interactions maintain continuity with the original film's intellectual undertones, ensuring that Lucy remains not just a superhuman entity, but a character whose choices carry moral weight. The introduction of new characters adds further layers of narrative complexity. Dr. Adrian Cross, a speculative character envisioned by fans, represents the human ambition to harness or rival Lucy's abilities. He is depicted as brilliant yet morally ambiguous, often challenging Lucy's interventions with technological countermeasures or ethical debates. Their interactions oscillate between conflict and collaboration, creating a dynamic tension that drives key plot points. Through Cross, fan narratives explore questions of hubris, ambition, and the ethical limits of scientific exploration. Cross's character also serves as a narrative mirror to Lucy, reflecting the potential consequences of intelligence untempered by wisdom or ethical consideration. World-building in the fan-made sequel extends beyond Earth, with some narratives speculating that Lucy's abilities allow her to perceive and manipulate systems at a planetary scale. For instance, she is imagined as influencing climate patterns, energy networks, and global transportation infrastructures subtly to prevent disasters or optimize human living conditions. These interventions are depicted as almost imperceptible to ordinary humans but are crucial for maintaining balance and preventing cascading crises. By extending the narrative to a planetary scale, fan-created content emphasizes Lucy's transformation from a human protagonist into a near-divine force, capable of shaping the trajectory of civilization itself. Fan theories also explore the societal implications of Lucy's evolution. Some posit that her presence accelerates scientific and technological progress, inspiring breakthroughs in artificial intelligence, medicine, and sustainable energy. Others suggest that her actions provoke existential anxiety, social unrest, and philosophical debates among global populations. These speculative elements are often woven into the narrative as news segments, personal vignettes, or dialogues between secondary characters, providing multiple perspectives on the consequences of a being whose intelligence far exceeds human understanding. By incorporating societal reactions, the story gains depth and realism, allowing audiences to explore both macro-level and individual-level impacts of Lucy's transformation. The imagined climax of Lucy 2 is typically a synthesis of action, philosophy, and resolution. In fan-conceived storylines, Lucy confronts an unprecedented threat, a convergence of human ambition, rogue AI, and global instability, that requires her full cognitive, ethical, and physical capabilities. The sequence often involves simultaneous problem-solving across multiple domains, neutralizing technological threats, guiding humans toward ethical choices, and mitigating environmental or societal crises. These multi-layered climaxes serve to demonstrate both the narrative potential of Lucy's abilities and the philosophical core of the story, the exercise of power with responsibility, the balance between intervention and autonomy, and the interplay between intelligence and morality. Dialogue in these climactic moments frequently emphasizes thematic reflection. Lucy, interacting with human characters, often articulates insights about evolution, knowledge, and the limits of perception. One imagined line reads, "I exist beyond fear, beyond time, yet even I am guided by the responsibility I bear toward those who cannot see as I do." Such lines encapsulate the fan-created narrative's focus on philosophical depth, portraying Lucy as both a transformative force and a contemplative figure, blending action with existential reflection. The fan-made Lucy 2 often concludes ambiguously, leaving room for interpretation and continued speculation. Some sequences suggest that Lucy merges with the planet's informational systems, becoming an omnipresent guardian whose influence is subtle yet pervasive. Others depict her retreating from direct interaction with humanity, observing evolution and guiding it indirectly. This ambiguity mirrors the unresolved questions posed in the original film, allowing audiences to consider the ethical, philosophical, and existential ramifications of her journey. By resisting a definitive resolution, fan content preserves the sense of wonder, intellectual engagement, and narrative flexibility that has made Lucy a compelling character since the first film. As Lucy's story progresses, the transformation she undergoes becomes increasingly complex, both physically and psychologically. Her evolving abilities not only grant her control over the physical world but also challenge her understanding of time, space, and human relationships. Initially, Lucy's powers manifest in concrete ways. She can move faster, think more clearly, and react more decisively. These abilities are primarily shown through her confrontations with the gang members who had previously controlled her. Her escape from captivity demonstrates not only physical agility but also an unprecedented level of strategic thinking, as she anticipates threats and manipulates her environment to neutralize dangers. Each act of resistance underscores the growing divide between her former human limitations and the capabilities she is developing. As the narrative continues, Lucy's perception expands beyond immediate survival and begins to include abstract concepts such as memory, history, and the structure of the universe. She begins to see connections and patterns that ordinary humans cannot comprehend, interpreting electromagnetic fields, molecular arrangements, and temporal sequences simultaneously. This heightened perception allows her to manipulate her surroundings in ways that appear almost supernatural. The film depicts this through sequences that mix scientific imagery, historical references, and cosmic visuals, emphasizing that her consciousness is no longer confined to ordinary spatial or temporal dimensions. Through this, the narrative suggests a philosophical notion that intelligence and awareness are not linear but multidimensional, encompassing more than the sum of sensory experiences. Lucy's interactions with Professor Norman provide a counterbalance to her expanding powers. He represents the rational, methodical approach to understanding human cognition. His role is crucial because it contextualizes Lucy's experiences within the broader framework of neuroscience, philosophy, and ethics. Through their dialogues, viewers are invited to consider the implications of her abilities beyond the immediate plot. Questions about morality, responsibility, and the use of knowledge are raised. Norman's character functions as a guide, helping Lucy reflect on the potential consequences of her transformation while providing a point of relatability for the audience. The film also examines the ethical dimension of knowledge and power. As Lucy's cognitive abilities increase, she faces choices regarding intervention, manipulation, and the preservation of information. The decision to provide Professor Norman with the repository of knowledge she has amassed demonstrates foresight and ethical reasoning. It reflects her understanding that ultimate knowledge, while valuable, must be contextualized within human society to have meaning and utility. This act also signifies a recognition of human dependency on shared understanding and collaboration, even when individual capacities surpass normal limits. The escalation of Lucy's abilities also has profound narrative and thematic consequences. The film demonstrates that extraordinary cognitive capacity is both a gift and a challenge. Lucy experiences a form of isolation as she becomes increasingly detached from ordinary human experiences. Her perception of social norms, human emotion, and mortality shifts, creating a tension between her expanding understanding and her connections to others. This tension is central to the story, highlighting the complex interplay between intelligence, emotional connection, and the responsibilities associated with power. The film emphasizes the tension between the metaphysical and the physical. Lucy's ability to transcend conventional understanding forces a confrontation between empirical reality and speculative possibility. The visuals used in these sequences, combining cosmic imagery, microscopic processes, and historical events, serve to communicate abstract ideas in ways that dialogue alone cannot. The narrative suggests that as cognitive capacity increases, perception of reality becomes multidimensional, challenging the viewer to imagine the experience of consciousness unbound by ordinary constraints. The cultural reception of Lucy further underscores its impact. Audiences were intrigued not only by the film's action sequences but also by the conceptual questions it raises. Discussions emerged about the implications of enhanced cognition, the philosophical dimensions of consciousness, and the moral challenges associated with unlimited power. These discussions often referenced the enduring human fascination with mental potential and evolution. While some critics questioned the scientific accuracy of the film, the narrative's engagement with speculative ideas ensured that it remained influential within both popular and academic discourse. The scientific community largely regards the premise of using only 10% of the brain as a myth, yet the film's use of this concept provides a narrative device rather than a factual claim. By exaggerating the potential consequences of unlocking the remaining 90%, Lucy allows for a thought experiment regarding human evolution, intelligence, and the ethical responsibilities of knowledge. This conceptual framework elevates the film beyond conventional action entertainment and positions it as a speculative exploration of the mind's possibilities. Lucy's journey is also a study in transformation and identity. Initially, she is defined by her ordinary human limitations, her vulnerabilities, and her connections to other people. As her abilities develop, she becomes progressively alienated from her previous identity. This alienation is both external and internal, reflecting a narrative exploration of selfhood and the impact of extreme cognitive expansion on personal identity. The film suggests that intelligence alone does not define the self, rather, consciousness, ethics, and relational awareness remain integral components of human identity. The narrative structure contributes to the sense of progressive evolution. Each stage of Lucy's development introduces new abilities, challenges, and insights, allowing the audience to experience the expansion of her consciousness in parallel with the story. The combination of linear progression in plot with nonlinear perception in thematic content creates a layered narrative experience, blending conventional storytelling with abstract, philosophical inquiry. Lucy also explores the role of memory and accumulated knowledge. As her mental capacities expand, she can access and integrate vast amounts of information instantaneously. The narrative emphasizes the distinction between raw knowledge and understanding, highlighting that true wisdom involves the capacity to apply information meaningfully. This distinction becomes central to Lucy's decisions, including the creation of the data repository for Professor Norman. By transferring her knowledge, she ensures that accumulated information can be utilized constructively by others, reinforcing the ethical dimension of intelligence. The film's portrayal of time is particularly significant. Lucy experiences events in a nonlinear fashion, perceiving past, present, and potential future occurrences simultaneously. This altered perception challenges the conventional understanding of causality and sequence, suggesting that advanced cognition may allow for fundamentally different relationships with temporal phenomena. The visual representation of this concept through rapid editing, temporal overlays, and symbolic imagery reinforces the narrative's exploration of consciousness and its boundaries. Another aspect of Lucy's journey is the tension between autonomy and interaction. As her abilities increase, she must navigate the balance between exercising power independently and engaging with other individuals and institutions. The narrative demonstrates that even as cognitive expansion enables unprecedented autonomy, meaningful engagement with society and ethical considerations remains essential. Lucy's interactions with Professor Norman, law enforcement, and other characters illustrate the importance of contextualizing extraordinary ability within human social frameworks. Lucy's final transformation, in which she becomes a non-physical presence, serves as a culmination of thematic exploration. By leaving a data repository for human use, she bridges the gap between her transcendent state and the practical needs of human society. This act reinforces the film's emphasis on responsibility, ethical reasoning, and the relational aspect of knowledge. It also provides narrative closure while maintaining the speculative and philosophical tone that characterizes the film. The global reception of Lucy demonstrates its cross-cultural appeal. Audiences responded to both its visual spectacle and its conceptual depth. The film sparked discussions about cognition, the potential for human evolution, and the ethical implications of intelligence. While critics noted shortcomings in scientific realism and character development, they also recognized the film's ability to provoke thought and stimulate debate. Its influence extended beyond entertainment into areas of philosophy, neuroscience discussion, and popular speculation about human potential. The ongoing rumors of a sequel illustrate the narrative's resonance with audiences. While official statements from Luc Besson and EuropaCorp confirm that no sequel is in production, interest in the concept persists. Fan projects, viral videos, and speculative analyses reflect the enduring fascination with Lucy's abilities and the unanswered questions raised by the film. This continued engagement highlights the story's ability to provoke curiosity and imagination, demonstrating the cultural impact of the narrative beyond its immediate commercial success. Lucy's story also serves as a reflection on human limitations and aspirations. It portrays the tension between what humans can achieve within natural constraints and what might be possible if those constraints were removed. The narrative encourages reflection on the potential for growth, the responsibilities accompanying knowledge, and the relationship between power, understanding, and ethics. By framing these themes within a compelling action narrative, the film allows viewers to engage with philosophical questions while remaining entertained. The film's cinematography, editing, and sound design all contribute to its thematic and narrative goals. Visual motifs, including cosmic imagery, cellular structures, and symbolic representations of information, reinforce the depiction of expanded consciousness. The combination of high-energy action sequences with contemplative sequences allows the audience to experience both the thrill of Lucy's physical exploits and the intellectual implications of her cognitive expansion. Lucy also emphasizes the continuity between individual transformation and broader societal impact. Her acquisition of knowledge and ability to manipulate reality raises questions about how exceptional individuals interact with societal structures and collective norms. By transferring her knowledge to Professor Norman, Lucy ensures that her abilities contribute to the collective human experience rather than existing solely for personal gain. This narrative choice reinforces the ethical dimension of cognitive expansion and highlights the importance of considering broader consequences in decisions that involve power and knowledge. The fascination with Lucy 2 is not limited to the speculative plot or casting, it also extends to the world-building and scientific imagination that the concept invites. Fans have long theorized about the ways in which Lucy's abilities could reshape human society if she were to exist in a more permanent or influential role. These discussions often delve into speculative science, considering the effects of enhanced cognition on technological innovation, communication, and problem-solving. For instance, a fully transcendent Lucy could theoretically solve complex global challenges instantaneously, from climate change to geopolitical conflicts, yet the ethical questions surrounding such intervention remain central to the imagined narratives. This tension between limitless capability and moral responsibility adds a profound layer to the story, making the concept of Lucy 2 not just a continuation of action-packed sequences but a meditation on the responsibilities that come with power. In fan speculation, the evolution of Lucy's character goes beyond mere superhuman abilities, it encompasses the philosophical notion of a post-human entity. By exploring the implications of an intelligence untethered from physical constraints, these imagined stories probe the boundaries of consciousness itself. What does it mean for humanity if a being possesses knowledge and perception far beyond any individual or collective understanding? Could Lucy guide humanity toward enlightenment, or would her presence provoke fear, misunderstanding, and conflict? These questions are central to the imagined narratives, allowing fans to grapple with existential themes in a format that combines cinematic spectacle with intellectual curiosity. The discussions around these ideas also reflect a broader cultural interest in transhumanism and the potential for technological or biological enhancement to fundamentally alter human experience. The imagined universe of Lucy 2 also includes dramatic tensions that are both narrative and ethical. Some fan-created plots suggest that humanity's response to Lucy's transcendent powers could be unpredictable, ranging from worship and reverence to fear and resistance. In these scenarios, governments, corporations, and independent actors might attempt to study, control, or even weaponize her abilities, creating conflicts that test the limits of her intelligence and compassion. These narratives often explore the consequences of omnipotence in a world of limited understanding, illustrating how power without accountability, or even with careful intentions, can create unforeseen challenges. Such storylines highlight the potential for Lucy 2 to be both visually spectacular and thematically rich, merging high-concept science fiction with moral and philosophical inquiry. Fan discussions around Lucy 2 often incorporate advanced technology and futuristic settings, imagining the evolution of civilization in parallel with Lucy's own transformation. Some scenarios propose that her influence extends to the development of artificial intelligence, space exploration, and scientific breakthroughs, essentially accelerating humanity's evolution in unprecedented ways. These speculative plots offer a canvas for creative exploration, allowing storytellers to consider the implications of a being whose intelligence surpasses that of any human or artificial construct. The allure of Lucy 2 lies in its ability to merge thrilling action sequences with contemplations of humanity's future, offering both entertainment and intellectual engagement in a single, cohesive vision. The potential emotional arc of Lucy in a sequel is another area of speculation and interest. Fans often imagine the personal consequences of her transformation, considering whether an entity of such immense intelligence can retain empathy, curiosity, or attachment to human experiences. Would Lucy experience loneliness, isolation, or a sense of alienation as she transcends physical and cognitive boundaries? These narrative explorations add depth to the character, providing opportunities for storytelling that combines spectacle with introspection. By humanizing a being that is otherwise almost godlike, writers and fans alike can explore the psychological and emotional dimensions of intelligence, creating a more compelling and relatable narrative within the larger speculative universe. The trailers and visual representations of Lucy 2, although unofficial, contribute significantly to the imagination of fans. AI-generated or independently created content often features abstract representations of consciousness, cosmic visuals, and futuristic cityscapes, providing a glimpse into how a fully realized sequel could look. These visualizations not only spark excitement but also encourage viewers to engage with the philosophical and scientific implications of Lucy's evolution. By blending imaginative visuals with narrative speculation, these trailers serve as a form of collaborative storytelling, allowing fans to participate actively in the expansion of the cinematic universe. The viral popularity of such content underscores the enduring appeal of Lucy and the hunger for exploration of her potential beyond the original film. Another aspect of the Lucy 2 discussion is the role of Luc Besson as both creator and gatekeeper of the narrative. His repeated statements denying an official sequel highlight the tension between creator intent and audience desire. While Besson's position suggests that the story of Lucy is complete as originally told, the continued enthusiasm from fans demonstrates the ways in which narratives can take on a life beyond their original context. This dynamic is particularly relevant in the age of digital media, where fan-generated content, speculation, and discussion can shape public perception and sustain interest in a franchise even in the absence of official production. Lucy 2, therefore, represents a fascinating case study in modern fandom, intellectual curiosity, and the interplay between narrative creation and audience imagination. Finally, the philosophical and cultural significance of Lucy 2 cannot be overstated, even in its purely speculative form. The character of Lucy challenges audiences to consider the limits of knowledge, the potential of human evolution, and the moral responsibilities associated with extraordinary abilities. By imagining a sequel, fans and creators alike engage with these questions on a deeper level, exploring how intelligence, consciousness, and ethical considerations intersect in a world shaped by unprecedented cognitive power. The ongoing fascination with Lucy 2 reflects the broader human desire to explore the unknown, to question the boundaries of existence, and to imagine what might be possible when the limitations of the mind are lifted. Even without official confirmation, the discussion around Lucy 2 continues to inspire creativity, debate, and wonder, cementing Lucy's place as an enduring icon of modern science fiction and philosophical inquiry. In the imagined Lucy 2, fan theories often explore subplots that add emotional depth and complexity to the overarching story. One such subplot revolves around Lucy's attempt to reconcile her transcendent existence with her lingering human emotions. Despite her omnipotence and godlike awareness, traces of the woman she once was remain, manifesting in memories, emotional responses, and ethical reflections. Fan scripts imagine moments where Lucy contemplates her relationships, her sense of identity, and the consequences of leaving humanity behind. In one speculative dialogue, she muses to Professor Norman, "I remember being limited, flawed, human, and yet, those limits made every connection meaningful. Now, I see all, and it is beautiful, but it is lonely." This introspection provides a counterbalance to the larger-scale action sequences, grounding the narrative in relatable emotional stakes. Another subplot, widely explored in fan narratives, involves the development of secondary enhanced beings. While none are as powerful as Lucy, these characters are envisioned as the first human evolution experiments influenced by the drug she ingested in the original film, or by other technological interventions inspired by her existence. Their arcs often explore jealousy, ambition, cooperation, and ethical dilemmas, highlighting the challenges of coexistence between vastly different levels of intelligence. In one imagined scenario, a young enhanced mind attempts to challenge Lucy's decisions, questioning her authority and ethical judgment. This confrontation is depicted not merely as a battle of power, but as a philosophical debate about the right course of action, the use of knowledge, and the consequences of intervention. Fan-created timelines for Lucy 2 frequently attempt to map her progression from the end of the original film to the events of the sequel. Some speculate that months or years have passed, during which Lucy has evolved her cognitive abilities, integrated herself into digital and biological systems, and experimented with ethical frameworks for interacting with humanity. Within these timelines, major events are often detailed, natural disasters prevented, technological breakthroughs inspired by her interventions, and subtle societal shifts caused by her influence. These speculative chronologies provide a sense of continuity and realism, helping fans imagine a coherent narrative bridging the gap between the first film and the imagined sequel. Character evolution arcs are central to the fan narrative. Lucy herself is depicted as evolving not only cognitively but also morally and emotionally. Fans envision her grappling with the responsibilities of godlike power, exploring the balance between intervention and restraint, and learning to empathize with human perspectives despite her vastly superior intellect. Similarly, secondary characters, such as Professor Norman and Dr. Adrian Cross, undergo growth as they confront the consequences of interacting with a being of Lucy's capabilities. Norman, for instance, may shift from cautious observation to active mentorship, guiding Lucy's ethical development, while Cross might evolve from ambition-driven antagonist to a more nuanced collaborator, recognizing the limits of human understanding. These arcs enrich the narrative by providing layers of character complexity and emotional resonance. Fan narratives also elaborate on global and environmental consequences of Lucy's actions. In imagined sequences, her omnipresent cognition allows her to monitor and subtly influence planetary systems, weather, ecosystems, energy networks, and resource distribution. These interventions are depicted as almost imperceptible yet critically important, preventing ecological catastrophes, optimizing human infrastructure, and facilitating the gradual advancement of civilization. This expansion of scope reinforces the theme of Lucy as a transformative entity, whose existence catalyzes both intellectual and material evolution, while also posing ethical questions about the proper scope of intervention. Dialogue-driven sequences further highlight Lucy's philosophical depth. Fans imagine exchanges in which she debates the nature of consciousness, the ethical use of knowledge, and the morality of human and post-human interaction. In one scenario, she challenges a group of enhanced beings, asking, if knowledge grants power, does it also impose responsibility? And if so, to whom? Such dialogues emphasize that Lucy 2 is conceived not merely as an action-driven spectacle, but as an intellectual exploration of the consequences of transcendent cognition and moral responsibility. Action subplots in fan-created content are intertwined with character development. For instance, sequences where Lucy neutralizes global threats are also opportunities to reveal aspects of her personality, decision-making process, and moral reasoning. In one imagined sequence, she averts a nuclear confrontation by simultaneously communicating with leaders, disarming weapons systems, and projecting her awareness into the global digital network to prevent miscalculations. Each action demonstrates both her intellectual mastery and ethical deliberation, reinforcing the central themes of power and responsibility. The visual aesthetics in fan-made Lucy 2 also continue to evolve, emphasizing her transcendence and integration with global systems. Cities, landscapes, and digital networks are often depicted as subtly morphing in response to her presence, reflecting the narrative's speculative exploration of cause and effect on a planetary scale. These visuals, combined with the use of color, light, and abstract representations of thought and energy, create an immersive environment in which Lucy's evolution is both awe-inspiring and philosophically resonant. Finally, fan narratives often leave room for open-ended philosophical reflection. Lucy's actions, while protective and morally guided, raise questions that remain unresolved. Can a being of such power coexist with humanity without undermining its autonomy? What is the ethical limit of intervention when knowledge and ability surpass the understanding of those affected? How does one reconcile the loneliness of omniscience with the desire for connection? By leaving these questions unanswered, the fan-created Lucy 2 maintains the intellectual engagement and speculative richness that defined the original film, while expanding its scope to a global, philosophical, and even cosmic scale. Lucy's journey can also be seen as a meditation on the relationship between knowledge and morality. As she gains extraordinary cognitive abilities, she must decide how to use them responsibly. The narrative suggests that knowledge in itself is not inherently valuable unless applied with consideration for its impact. Lucy's decision to leave her data repository for Professor Norman reflects an understanding that information must be contextualized and shared for the benefit of society. This act emphasizes the film's ethical framework, portraying intelligence as a tool that carries responsibility alongside its capabilities. It also highlights the tension between individual power and collective welfare, suggesting that even in a state of transcendence, relational and societal factors remain significant. The psychological dimension of Lucy's transformation is particularly notable. As her cognition expands, she becomes increasingly detached from human emotion and conventional social interaction. Her perception of pain, attachment, and mortality shifts as her mind moves beyond ordinary constraints. Yet moments of residual human awareness, such as her conversation with her mother, demonstrate that her emotional core persists despite her growing abstraction. These moments create a balance within the narrative, illustrating that identity and emotional connection do not vanish entirely, even as cognitive abilities reach unprecedented levels. The film thereby explores how consciousness, emotion, and ethical reasoning are interconnected, highlighting the complexities of human development when traditional limitations are removed. The theme of time is central to Lucy's experience. The nonlinear perception of past, present, and future challenges traditional notions of causality and human understanding. Lucy's ability to interact with multiple temporal dimensions simultaneously raises questions about determinism, free will, and the nature of existence. These ideas are represented visually through sequences that combine rapid editing, overlays of historical events, and symbolic imagery. Such techniques reinforce the narrative's exploration of the boundaries of perception, suggesting that consciousness, when expanded, may allow for a fundamentally different experience of reality. Lucy's transformation is also a metaphor for human potential and evolution. References to the prehistoric Lucy, the Australopithecus afarensis fossil, establish a symbolic link between humanity's evolutionary past and its possible cognitive future. The narrative implies that human development is not merely biological but also intellectual and existential. By presenting Lucy as a bridge between ordinary human experience and a higher state of consciousness, the film encourages reflection on the trajectory of human evolution, the possibilities inherent in the brain, and the ethical considerations that accompany such potential. From a structural perspective, the film balances action, intellectual exploration, and philosophical inquiry. The action sequences provide immediacy and tension, while the speculative and metaphysical elements encourage contemplation. This combination ensures that the story is accessible to a wide audience, including those interested primarily in entertainment and those drawn to conceptual inquiry. The dual narrative approach allows viewers to engage both emotionally and intellectually, creating a multifaceted experience. Lucy's character development reflects the interplay between knowledge, power, and ethical responsibility. As she grows increasingly powerful, she confronts questions about intervention, influence, and the limits of personal agency. The narrative examines the potential consequences of cognitive expansion, including the risk of alienation and ethical misjudgment. By exploring these dynamics, the film presents a nuanced depiction of power and responsibility, suggesting that extraordinary ability must be tempered by moral reasoning and relational awareness. The supporting characters play a crucial role in highlighting these themes. Professor Norman embodies the rational, ethical perspective, providing context and guidance for Lucy's development. Law enforcement figures and antagonists illustrate the societal structures and constraints that persist even as Lucy's abilities exceed ordinary limits. These interactions demonstrate that cognitive expansion does not eliminate the importance of ethical decision-making, societal norms, or relational obligations. The film thereby situates Lucy's personal evolution within a broader human context, reinforcing the interconnectedness of knowledge, action, and morality. Lucy's final transformation, in which she transcends physical form, serves as a culmination of thematic exploration. Her departure from the material world symbolizes the potential for human consciousness to evolve beyond conventional limitations. By leaving her data repository, she ensures that her knowledge continues to influence the world, bridging the gap between transcendence and practical application. This resolution reinforces the film's emphasis on responsibility, ethical reasoning, and the relational dimension of intelligence. It also underscores the narrative's commitment to philosophical reflection, suggesting that cognitive expansion must be understood in relation to broader societal and ethical considerations. The global reception of Lucy demonstrates its cross-cultural appeal. Audiences were intrigued by the combination of action and speculative exploration. Discussions emerged regarding cognition, human potential, and the implications of enhanced intelligence. While some critics criticized the scientific premise, many acknowledged the film's imaginative approach and visual storytelling. It became a point of reference for discussions about the relationship between intelligence, evolution, and ethics, contributing to its lasting influence in popular culture. Despite the clarity of Lucy's narrative in exploring human potential, the film also sparked curiosity about a possible sequel. Rumors of Lucy 2 have persisted for years, fueled by fan speculation, online discussions, and occasional misreported statements. Various sources suggested that a follow-up might explore the consequences of Lucy's knowledge and abilities in a societal context. However, Luc Besson and EuropaCorp have consistently denied the existence of a sequel in production. Besson emphasized that Lucy was intended as a standalone story and that media reports claiming otherwise were inaccurate. This ongoing speculation reflects the cultural resonance of the story and the audience's fascination with the possibilities it presents. Lucy's impact extends beyond entertainment to discussions of cognitive potential, ethics, and human evolution. The film engages viewers in speculative thought experiments about the implications of expanded intelligence. By portraying a character who surpasses ordinary human limitations, it encourages reflection on the responsibilities associated with knowledge and the ways that extraordinary abilities might interact with human society. These thematic elements give the film depth and relevance, ensuring that it continues to be referenced and discussed in both popular and intellectual contexts. The narrative also highlights the importance of relational awareness. Lucy's interactions with other characters emphasize that even as intelligence expands, understanding and empathy remain central to meaningful action. The film portrays the limitations of raw power without relational and ethical frameworks, suggesting that the ultimate value of knowledge lies in its application in socially and morally responsible ways. This emphasis on relational ethics distinguishes Lucy from other action-oriented narratives and reinforces its philosophical underpinnings. Lucy's journey can also be interpreted as a metaphor for the human desire to surpass limitations. Her evolution represents an aspirational vision of cognitive and existential potential. The film's speculative premise provides a framework for exploring questions about the boundaries of human understanding and the consequences of exceeding those boundaries. By combining narrative, visual, and philosophical elements, Lucy creates a space for contemplation about the relationship between intelligence, power, and morality. The film's visual storytelling contributes significantly to its thematic impact. Cinematic techniques, including dynamic editing, symbolic imagery, and depictions of cosmic and microscopic phenomena, reinforce the narrative's exploration of consciousness. The interplay between action sequences and contemplative visual sequences allows audiences to experience both the immediacy of Lucy's challenges and the abstract, conceptual dimensions of her transformation. This combination enhances the film's capacity to engage viewers on multiple levels, blending entertainment with intellectual inquiry. Lucy also raises questions about the relationship between individual agency and societal impact. Her abilities challenge traditional notions of autonomy, as she must navigate the ethical implications of her power in relation to others. The narrative demonstrates that extraordinary capacity does not eliminate social responsibilities or the consequences of one's actions. By providing her knowledge to Professor Norman, Lucy ensures that her abilities contribute to the collective human experience, reflecting a commitment to ethical stewardship. The film's exploration of consciousness and cognitive expansion has generated interest among academics, writers, and commentators. Discussions often focus on the implications of enhanced mental capacities for ethical reasoning, temporal perception, and societal impact. These debates reflect the film's success in stimulating critical thought and engagement with complex ideas. Even in the absence of scientific accuracy, Lucy provides a narrative framework for considering the potential of the human mind and the responsibilities that accompany extraordinary ability. Lucy's story also emphasizes the role of mortality in shaping human experience. While she transcends physical constraints, the narrative acknowledges the finite nature of ordinary human life. Moments of human vulnerability, such as her conversations with her mother, underscore the persistence of emotional connection despite cognitive transcendence. These interactions maintain narrative tension and emotional resonance, reinforcing the interplay between human experience and speculative expansion. The popularity of Lucy highlights the cultural fascination with cognitive enhancement and human potential. Audiences are drawn to narratives that explore the boundaries of ability, the consequences of surpassing limitations, and the ethical considerations inherent in extraordinary knowledge. The film's success in combining action, speculative thought, and visual storytelling demonstrates its appeal across diverse audiences and its capacity to generate ongoing discussion and engagement. Speculation regarding a sequel, while officially denied, reflects the enduring interest in the narrative and its themes. Fan engagement, online analysis, and creative reinterpretations illustrate the story's resonance and the desire to explore the implications of Lucy's abilities further. This continued attention underscores the narrative's capacity to provoke thought and maintain relevance in cultural discourse. Lucy also functions as a reflection on the human pursuit of understanding. By presenting a character who transcends ordinary limitations, the film invites viewers to consider the nature of knowledge, the scope of human potential, and the ethical dimensions of intelligence. It challenges assumptions about the limits of cognition and encourages speculation about the ways in which consciousness might evolve. The film's integration of philosophical inquiry and action-driven storytelling allows it to engage audiences on multiple levels. Viewers experience the immediacy of Lucy's challenges while also contemplating broader questions about intelligence, morality, and evolution. This dual approach contributes to the film's cultural impact and its enduring relevance as a work of speculative storytelling. Many fans envision Lucy 2 as a story that pushes the boundaries of traditional action and science fiction by exploring the cosmic scale of her abilities. Unlike the original film, where her powers were primarily limited to earthly action sequences and localized consequences, conceptual sequels imagine Lucy operating on a planetary or even universal scale. She could influence global communications networks, guide technological innovations, or subtly shape political and economic outcomes without ever being physically present. This expansive narrative allows writers and fans to explore the notion of omnipresence and omniscience in a way that challenges the audience's understanding of power, control, and responsibility. Such storylines emphasize the tension between Lucy's near-godlike abilities and the unpredictable nature of human society, creating opportunities for both dramatic conflict and philosophical reflection. In addition to exploring cosmic and global consequences, fan-made scenarios often consider the evolution of Lucy's personality and identity. While her intelligence expands beyond ordinary comprehension, questions arise about whether she retains a sense of self or human emotion. Fans speculate that Lucy might experience isolation, existential contemplation, or even a longing for connection as she transcends physical and cognitive boundaries. These internal conflicts provide a compelling emotional dimension to the story, balancing the grandeur of her abilities with relatable human concerns. By addressing her psychological and emotional state, these narratives add depth to Lucy's character, allowing audiences to connect with her journey even as she becomes increasingly otherworldly. The potential inclusion of supporting characters adds further complexity and intrigue to Lucy 2. In fan-created trailers and storylines, figures such as Morgan Freeman's character or other imagined scientists, government agents, or allies often serve as narrative anchors. These characters provide exposition, offer moral guidance, or create conflict by challenging Lucy's decisions and actions. Their interactions with Lucy highlight the contrast between ordinary human cognition and her extraordinary intelligence, offering a lens through which the audience can comprehend her capabilities. Additionally, they help maintain narrative tension, ensuring that even a protagonist of near-limitless power encounters obstacles, dilemmas, and consequences that drive the story forward. Lucy 2's speculative storylines also frequently explore the consequences of knowledge and foresight. With access to information far beyond any human's ability to process, Lucy might foresee events years or decades in advance, allowing her to intervene strategically. Fan theories suggest that this could include preventing disasters, redirecting technological development, or even subtly influencing social behavior. However, these powers also introduce ethical dilemmas: how much intervention is appropriate, and who decides what outcomes are correct or moral. The tension between capability and responsibility forms a central theme in many imagined plots, providing both narrative suspense and philosophical inquiry that elevate Lucy 2 beyond conventional action-driven sequels. The use of advanced visuals and speculative technology is a hallmark of fan interpretations of Lucy 2. AI-generated trailers often depict abstract representations of consciousness, neural networks, and cosmic phenomena, blending scientific imagination with artistic creativity. These visuals allow viewers to conceptualize Lucy's transcendent state, imagining a character who can manipulate energy, matter, and information on levels previously inconceivable. Such visual storytelling reinforces the thematic emphasis on evolution, intelligence, and omnipresence, creating a cinematic experience that is as intellectually stimulating as it is visually spectacular. The interplay between concept art, narrative speculation, and fan engagement demonstrates the power of modern digital media to extend storytelling beyond traditional production constraints. Philosophically, Lucy 2 engages with questions of morality, evolution, and the nature of existence itself. As a being whose intelligence surpasses all human understanding, Lucy represents both the pinnacle of potential and the uncertainty of post-human existence. Fans often speculate about whether her transcendence leads to enlightenment, benevolent guidance for humanity, or an indifference to human concerns entirely. These inquiries resonate deeply with audiences because they reflect timeless questions about the role of knowledge, the responsibilities of power, and the ultimate trajectory of human development. In this way, Lucy 2 serves as more than entertainment; it becomes a thought experiment that challenges viewers to consider what it means to evolve beyond current limitations. Another aspect that captivates fans is the potential conflict between Lucy and institutions or factions in the imagined sequel. Governments, corporations, and other powerful entities might perceive her as a threat, attempting to control or exploit her abilities. Such conflicts introduce narrative tension and ethical considerations, as Lucy must navigate a world where her powers surpass comprehension but human motivations remain unpredictable. This dynamic creates opportunities for suspense, drama, and moral exploration, allowing Lucy 2 to function as both a thrilling action story and a meditation on power, control, and autonomy. The interactions between Lucy and these entities provide a framework through which audiences can explore the consequences of extraordinary intelligence in a structured, narrative form. Speculation about Lucy 2 also frequently involves the integration of futuristic science and technology. Imagined scenarios include advancements in artificial intelligence, space exploration, and bioengineering, all influenced or accelerated by Lucy's guidance. By positioning her as a catalyst for human progress, fan narratives expand the scope of the story from personal evolution to global transformation. These speculative elements create a rich tapestry of imaginative possibilities, where Lucy's abilities intersect with science, ethics, and society in ways that challenge conventional storytelling. The potential for such expansive world-building illustrates why the concept of Lucy 2 continues to inspire creativity, debate, and fan engagement, even in the absence of official confirmation. Finally, Lucy 2's enduring appeal lies in its combination of spectacle, intellectual curiosity, and philosophical depth. Fans are drawn not only to the action and visual effects that would accompany a sequel but also to the conceptual challenges posed by a character of such immense intelligence. Speculative storylines allow audiences to explore questions of morality, evolution, consciousness, and the future of humanity, engaging both imagination and intellect. The continued interest in Lucy 2, from AI-generated trailers to online fan discussions, demonstrates the lasting cultural impact of the original film and the powerful resonance of its themes. Even without an official sequel, Lucy 2 exists as a vibrant idea, a canvas upon which fans and creators alike can explore the limitless potential of the human mind and the consequences of transcending its boundaries.